Introducing a new era of Taylor guitars. This is the brand new Taylor 700 series. Hello, I am Vinny from Guitar Guitar. I am in the Epsom store right now in front of our wonderful Taylor wall. As I've already said in this video, we're going to be talking about the brand new Taylor 700 series. But before we get going, it's probably just worth mentioning that in this video, I'm going to be chatting and there's going to be some clips of some playing too. If you don't want to hear any talking and you just want to hear how these guitars sound, check the description below. We'll have a no chat, just sounds video where you can just hear the guitars. So with that out of the way, let's talk about these. As I've already said, this is the brand new Taylor 700 series, and there's one really big important thing to note here. These are all solid Koa. Now, if you're familiar with Taylor's ranges in the past, you'll know that the 700 series up until now has generally been spruce top and rosewood back and sides combination. The thing about Taylor is, as we have mentioned many times in many different videos where we talk about different Taylor ranges, Taylor has got such a huge range of different tone woods, different shapes, etc, etc. But that being said, there was quite a lot of ranges ticking that spruce and rosewood combo. So you had the 400 series, obviously the 700 series, 800, 900, but now we have these and they are all Koa. This isn't the first time that Taylor has done all Koa guitars. They've done Koa series guitars, they've done lots of limited edition versions of some of their models that use Koa. However, there are some distinctive differences with these that we will touch on in a second. One last thing to note is that Taylor will still be making the Builder's Edition 717E, which is the rosewood and spruce combo, but that's it. So starting out, Taylor have launched the new series with two of their most popular shapes. In my hand here, I have the 722 CE, which is like a grand concert size, and they have also launched the 724 CE, which is the grand auditorium size, which is basically the shape most people know Taylor for. The top, back and sides all use a select grade Hawaiian Koa. The finishing is slightly different to what you may have seen on a Koa Taylor in the past. This actually has an ultra thin matte finish. We've got a neo-tropical mahogany neck. We've got our classic ebony fingerboard that you will find on most Taylors. We've got a 1 3/4 inch nut width. We've got the ES2 electronics built in, and these also come with a hard case. If you were to go for the Grand Auditorium 724 CE model, which I've mentioned, then your scale length will be 25.5 inches. However, if you go for the slightly smaller bodied 722 CE, which I've got in my hand here, then you're going to have a 24 7/8 of an inch scale length. So I've already mentioned that these are slightly different to Taylor's previous Koa series releases, but how so? So when we think about Taylor's Koa series that they've made in the past, generally speaking, you're talking about ultra refined, really figured woods, you know, very glossy finishes. Guitars that have been made really to showcase the look of the Koa above all else. Obviously the guitars also sound good. Koa has a very distinctive sound, and they were very, very cool guitars. I would say that they're the sort of thing that, you know, you would put on the wall and really almost have as like a presentation piece. They're very, very beautiful looking guitars. Now these, by all means, are not bad looking guitars in comparison to the Koa series guitars. As you can probably tell with the one in my hand right now, this very, very intense like pinstripe figuring just looks amazing. Really, really beautiful guitars. All that being said, the focus with the new 700 series is less about utilizing the beautiful looks of the Koa, which obviously you have anyway, but it's about actually working with those woods and making a guitar that kind of ticks a box in that tone bracket that maybe hasn't been done before in the Taylor range. These guitars have been designed to have a much more natural feel, sound, look, and you can really tell that with the ultra thin matte finish that I've already mentioned. You feel very connected to the wood, and it just really gets the best out of the Koa's sound. The goal with the sound of these is to give you a much livelier, punchier sound, and Taylor have definitely achieved that with these. As you've probably heard and will hear in this video, we filmed a fairly diverse range of different acoustic playing styles, and everything was really cutting through. And I feel like these new 700 series have really been designed to just kind of cut above other things in the mix, and just if you're performing live, then your guitar is going to be heard and not be lost under loads of other instruments, which is really nice to have. Also, one of the really nice things about having this ultra matte finish and just having this really natural connection to the wood is just it feels really comfortable. You feel really in tune with the guitar. It's just a very, very nice experience when you're playing. Taylor's being famous for just being very easy and comfortable to play anyway. When you have all of those added features to this range, just makes it, as I say, a really nice experience. One thing to note about Taylor is they've begun to work much more directly with the timbers themselves. Kind of similar to what they've done with ebony, where they actually own the mills that are cutting the ebony down and they can, you know, make the most of all the woods. Taylor have started being a lot more responsible with the way that they use the Koa. So whereas Koa was classed as a much more rare wood a few years ago, Taylor are now using different cuts, which maybe weren't sold to guitar manufacturers originally to be used on guitars. They're now experimenting with those woods and getting much more yield out of all of the trees they're cutting down, and also planting new ones in their place. So it's also very sustainable, which is of course very, very important in this day and age, and we absolutely commend Taylor for those decisions and those ethical business practices. We've also got some new appointments with the 700 series here aside from the Koa. We've got mother of pearl fountain fretboard inlays, rosewood binding including the sound hole, which contrasts really nicely with the slightly lighter Koa finish, Taylor's polished bronze tuners, and loads of other little small things which really contributes to just making these guitars such beautiful instruments, which are also a pleasure to play. One thing that I have already touched on slightly in this video, which I think is worth kind of just closing on here, is that this is a new sound profile for Taylor. Up until now, there have been at least 4 ranges in Taylor's huge range of guitars, which I already mentioned, that have had that spruce and rosewood combination, which is obviously a classic, but did they really need that many ranges? Obviously not, because they've changed one of them. And it's really nice with a brand like Taylor, which gives you so many options, that they haven't just like stopped. They're still developing new ideas. They're still offering new sounds and new experiences with acoustic guitars, whilst also sticking to a lot of the ethics and ideas that make Taylor such a desirable company to buy into and own a guitar from. I personally feel that one of the big things to note is that for a very long time, Koa as a wood has been kind of classed as almost like a gimmicky wood that you buy for the looks. But when you really consider that, you know, so many instruments were being made with Koa like 100 years ago, and it kind of fell out of popularity and now has come back in such a big way. Taylor are now developing instruments that aren't just about looking good with the Koa, but are actually about making the most out of the characteristics and sound profiles of this wood, which has just got so much more to give. And I think it's really exciting that the 700 series has adopted this new all-solid Koa approach, because I feel like it's going to really surprise a lot of people, and they're going to add such a new range of sounds, which I don't think was available, not just in Taylor's range of guitars, but also just generally speaking across most of the brands that you can get a hold of. And of course, as I've already said, you do still get all of the lovely appointments and benefits of having a Taylor. Straight out of the case, these were just such a joy to play. The action is nice and easy, everything is perfect. Obviously, you also have all of the warranty and servicing perks and benefits that you get with Taylor with these. So just a really, really amazing instrument, and I feel like this is a really new, exciting era for Taylor. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to know about any other new Taylors or any other new guitars for that matter, please do feel free to subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notifications whenever we release videos. We're not just making videos about guitars, we're releasing sessions, educational videos, interviews, tons and tons of different types of content. So if you want to be up to date in the world of guitars, you should definitely give our channel a follow. Once again, thank you so much for watching. I have been Vinny from Guitar Guitar, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye. Mm-hmm.